we were going to maybe the most beautiful place in the world. And instead of being convened by the beauty or by the wildlife, we're convened by the garbage. And that seems like a tragedy. A generation ago, this problem didn't exist, and it has never existed before in the history of the planet.
You know, I think we got the laundry here, the Clorox and the laundry detergent.
There are animals that eat enough plastic to kill them, and this is really true of a lot of the seabirds and some of the other creatures. And plastic affecting wildlife is a global problem.
Every piece that I pick up and remove is one less piece that's going to be inside of an albatross. It's one less piece that's going to tangle a seal. I think everybody involved in this project is doing it because we love animals, we love nature, we love the natural world, and for me, that is the highest motivation I could have. This whole project is a huge excitement. As a child, I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau films. I wanted to be a marine biologist. I ended up being an artist, but to physically end up on a ship doing an expedition, it's like a dream, but now is becoming a reality.
The whole project is unusual, but we're also in not only unusual times, we're in unprecedented times. You know, science tells us how the world really is and how things really work. And the one thing that you don't have the time and space for in science is to express how that feels to you.
What's interesting is this combination of the scientific mind and eye with the artist. We're looking at the same thing and perhaps from different ways, but I think that synergy is what's the driving engine behind this project.
While I'm pegged with the title project leader, I feel that I'm just a facilitator helping create the stage for these voices to come together on. To me, there's a deeply offensive concept behind plastic trash cluttering the landscape. Where the hell did all this come from?
We're making millions of pieces of plastic every day, and we're throwing a lot of it away, and it winds up washing into rivers and getting into the ocean and taking this journey. It gets caught in these gigantic circulating ocean currents called gyres and flung back up on the beaches, and a lot of that is what we see.
So this is the Alaska Peninsula. These are all areas of known deposits. So you have this big Alaska coastal current swinging up along the coast, and as it all plows into this ridge, you have all this upwelling. So that's why, you know, we thought having this experience where you have this really rugged landscape, pristine wilderness, animals, whales, wildlife, and then you see all this crap on the beaches.
I have a big curiosity as to what is out there, what kind of debris comes here, what does it look like, how does it get here, how long has it traveled. I've never been able to predict what I might find.
There's just debris literally everywhere.
That's a Japanese street sign.
This is from 2007. We took 40 tons of plastic off of these three beaches right here. We're 25 tons right on this beach. Albatross just like all those little cigarette lighters we found around here.
Albatross, I've seen them eating even those big drift net floats that are like 6 inches long. Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
With thousands of chemicals and plastic that was heavily contaminated these fish. What else is in those fish that we aren't even looking at, you know? It's pretty scary to me.
When I land, I'm looking to gather the information that's already laid out in front of me. I feel like nature has played a hand in shifting this material debris that we've created, and it's putting it in a place for us to look at. You know, almost like a forensic scientist. I don't want to disturb the material until I've had a chance to look at it and read it. And then I clean it. I take it away. I take out as much material as I can physically handle.
There's a telltale signs of our sort of waste everywhere. You can't, you know, you're going to fall over it, really. And I started photographing plastic was because in some way, if you can create your message by nudging people through visual arts and culture, that will sink in a little bit deeper perhaps and change people's behaviour. My whole thing at the moment is got an interesting kind of like UFO stuff, because I'm going to try and make it look like they've just been kind of almost deposited from space.
There is something about that patina, something that's been out in the wilderness, where its colors have been softened, its texture has been changed. So, you know, they have some degree of attractiveness, even though we find them, you know, impossibly appalling as objects. Yeah, I mean, look at the colors on that. I mean, just stunning, right?
A lot of my work concerns the history of sciences, the material qualities of things.
I think this was a coffee mug. Well, you know, I think part of this expedition for the artist is really trying to figure out what pushes the visual language beyond how you might talk about this stuff. In a way, the beach has become our studio.
It's incredible. To me, it's like the ocean made this sculpture. It's because what it exhibits is its intent to just tangle this stuff up and vomit it out onto the beach.
I was really shocked to see how much garbage there is here, and that in the course of all of its journeys, it sweeps through the living areas of millions of animals that share this life with us. They don't deserve that, and it hurts them.
Wow. Our first ever whale, I got goosebumps.
What will these beaches look like 200 or 300 years from now at the rate at which this stuff is just accumulating every moment of every day? I think we could literally bury ourselves in this stuff.
I'm kind of envisioning making a really black, large form that's going to be sort of spewing out all this colored material. I found this by itself, and I couldn't tell why the shape was so odd and irregular until I found the whole one. So what we're seeing is someone's marketing idea for making a fly swatter in the shape of a football helmet, and we have now found all the major sports teams. This object is really strange to me. It's a magical safety sneaker insole. It's like a cross, and it even has this sort of radiating form coming out of the center. So to me, this would be a highly symbolic image I would make a portrait of. What we're looking at really, I think, is the cultural archaeology of our time right now. You know, these are the ghosts of our consumption. I think they're haunting the natural world in a terrifying way.
Yeah, it's an incredibly remote area.
Where exactly are you on this now?
We're right here. So Kodiak's 80 miles by air. The nearest neighbor is 25 miles. These are the real soiled beaches when you get out here. This is really dirty. In one day with my skiff, I picked up 600 pounds of net off these beaches.
Colleen and Jerry live here in their home, and I'm sure their idea was to live away from most of humanity in the most beautiful setting they could imagine. I'm sure it wasn't part of the deal in their mind to live with all of our garbage.
So that's my weighing station that's right there is where I separate the debris, water bottles, single-use plastic.
It's very neat. I'm impressed how neat it is.
You know?
Some of the neatest trash I've ever seen.
Here, this is a great one if I can pull this out. This is, you can probably come up and look at it, but almost every piece of plastic debris you find that will fit in a bear's mouth has those kind of tooth marks on it. The bears are fascinated with plastic, and they eat it.
So what is your most weird, bizarre object? Can you think of it?
I think that the thing I found that really surprised me the most was a plastic mannequin head, as far as just out of place.
The uncanny.
You know?
Yeah, that is a pretty good one. Yeah. I think she's doing something extraordinary. I mean, this is sheer labor and done for love, and she's doing the work of 100 people. It's amazing.
I felt like it was impossible to conquer last year, but now I'm thinking, I'm amazed at what I've seen happen in the last year with the awareness and the motivation. We're looking at buoys right now, but in those bags is every kind of household thing. It's a real chance for us to take a look at our lives as a species and say, what are we doing here? To see this bottle that was laying on this beautiful beach, now how many of those do you use a year, and what can you do? And remember when you used to find seashells? How's this?
But actually being in a place like this and hearing someone talk about the packaging of our lives, you know, it's not for the faint-hearted, is it?
All right.
I think there's never been a society that has produced more material culture and taken less responsibility for it. You know, these things don't bother me in everyday life, and they bother me in everyday life on the beaches of the world. So in my composition, I want the trash to stay as trash. You know, I want this to be an emblem of the material culture of a specific people at a specific time.
Up into the bay. Paul will position the Norseman.
Okay, Howard, that sounds great.
So we have a different kind of chore here. A lot of the beaches we've been on have been all of, 100 yards, 50 yards, a quarter of a mile. This beach is 10 kilometers.
Oh, nice.
We are the second crew to come off the Norseman, having to land a little bit further up the coast off the Jubatis. And essentially what we're doing is ferrying several thousand pounds of debris off this beautiful coastline.
The size of this bear paw there, if I put my hand in it, goes from there to there, so that must be what? That's over a foot, isn't it? Jeez. Must be one big mother.
We're seeing a large brown bear, and it's very, very impressive and really magnificent. And it's very big. These are the biggest brown bears in the world, in this region, and that's one of them.
I don't have the words. Those little cubs were amazing, the way they clustered around her, and it just was, you know, I think a once-in-a-lifetime image to see her that close and to see the hair on her back just blowing in the wind and the baby jumping on top and just the whole unfolding of a moment that I think is why we're here.
Thank you.
The action of cleaning a beach changes you. It puts you in the position of care and understanding something about our connection to the natural world.
I will take back mainly the vitality of the animals that we've seen and the sheer physical beauty of the place, which is just a complete knockout. People want to see the original world. They don't want to arrive and see the garbage of millions of people that has beat them to the place.
What's important about this trip is reconnecting with wild places. For me, putting people in nature fosters love, you know, and love motivates a change of behavior.